Peace. What's going on, everybody? Give everybody a chance to tune on in, man, before we start building on the topic for the day. Hopefully, everybody having a powerful Tuesday. Staying healthy, staying positive, staying productive. So I'll give y'all a chance to tune on in, man. We got a nice subject, nice topic to build on and discuss today. But first, I got to check in with y'all, man. How y'all living? How everybody feeling out here? Scorpion, what's going on, my brother? How everybody holding up, man, before we start going in, man. Y'all know this is one of those topics where I get to venting, so gotta catch me at the beginning, man, before I start going in. Louisiana, what's going on with you, my brother? When I tend to talk about these things, I tend to ruffle feathers. It is what it is. Angelic, what's going on? Doss, what's going on with you? Peace, peace. TZ, peace. What's going on with you? That honeydew, man. That honeydew is, hey, I fool with the honeydew melon. Fool with the honeydew melons. Things are good. I used to eat those joints for lunch back in the day, man. I used to just eat honeydew melon. Like everybody else pigging out on the animal flesh, and they wondering why I'm eating the honeydew melon. And I'm walking around with way more energy than everybody else. Joy the Serpent, peace. What's going on? Miss Donnie, peace, queen. Antoinette, peace, queen. What's going on? Andronicus, what's going on with you? Angelic, man, everything gets smooth, man. Everything is peaceful my way. Just remaining centered out here, man, to the best of my abilities. Amongst all the chaos and all that good stuff. Akuma, what's going on? Underscore, you already know, bro. You already know, bro. You already know. And like I said, man, I used to go hard back in the day when it came to this particular subject matter. I kind of cooled off, chilled out a little bit. But this was brought to my attention last stream, and I just felt like this is something that I can touch on, man, because I got a lot of experience when it comes to transitioning to different schools of thought, man. Y'all already know it's brought up one way. Eli Smooth, what's going on? What's going on with you, my brother? Kuma, Miami. Everybody been going to Miami, so I can imagine. But I've transitioned to through a lot of different schools of thoughts, man. I've studied a lot of different schools of thoughts, man. I deal with a lot of philosophies, religions, spiritual systems, and things of that nature, man. So I didn't dabble with a lot in regards to just studying. So I feel like I got a wide perspective when it comes to this particular subject matter, just based off of my experience and things that I have studied. Again, the way that I tend to view things along these lines doesn't sit well with a lot of people, but at the same time, a lot of people really don't be striving to hear me out. All they see or hear is that I disagree with their religion, their spiritual system, their belief system, whatever you want to refer to it as. And once they get wind of the fact that I disagree with it, it's automatically a problem. So they automatically shut down, and they're not trying to receive or hear anything that I'm saying. All they heard was that I disagree with whatever they believe in. And for the most part, when most people getting wind of you disagreeing with them, all the listening and comprehension goes out of the window. They're not trying to listen to anything you have to say. And one of the reasons why I find that to be true is because I feel like a lot of times the people shut down or shut off once they find out you disagree with their belief system, because you may make some sense to them, and they are afraid of that. So it's like if you telling somebody that you disagree with their religion or their spiritual system or whatever it is that they subscribe to, once you tell them that you disagree with it, and especially when you used to believe in it, they're not trying to hear anything you have to say because you may make some sense to them, and they do not want to have. They do not want to have that. They do not want to. They do not want to hear that. They do not want to hear the sense being made about the system of belief that they choose to follow. They don't want to hear that. And that's something that I have grown to understand over the time, man. People do not like to be told what's incorrect or what's wrong about whatever it is that they subscribing to. It's almost like dietary habits. A lot of people don't want to hear you correct the way that they are eating. They don't want to hear, they can know the way that they are eating is wrong, but they don't want to hear you tell them that though. So that's why I was just cooling out a lot of times when it came to this particular like subject matter, because again, once I said I disagree and here's why, they automatically not trying to listen to what I'm saying, man. It's a very select few that will actually hear you out when you disagree with their belief system. Very select few. Pseudo Charlatan, peace, what's going on? Nick, peace, what's going on? Thunder Scorpion, that's exactly what it turns into. It turns into you being against them, you being in opposition to them, you being an enemy. And that's not really what it is. And it's crazy because I don't necessarily agree 100% with anybody. So this is just one aspect of your life where I disagree with you. And I'm going to go back, I'm going to piggyback on a few movements that I dislike. And I'm going to use them as an example. I always tell people when they start calling me and other people like homophobic and things like that because we disagree with the homosexual lifestyle. I said, so what do you call me because I disagree with the religious lifestyle? So I don't see y'all really going out of y'all way to shoot me down for that. But the moment I tell you I disagree with the homosexual lifestyle, now y'all start throwing words out there like homophobic. Man, I disagree with religious folks all the time. But most of the people that's in my corner in my life are religious people. So what does that mean? I'm able to disagree with a lifestyle choice and still be cool with the person. That don't necessarily mean I'm the enemy to the person. That don't necessarily mean that I hate the person. People don't understand that. That's because I disagree with a choice you making, because it is a choice. Just because I disagree with a choice you making or something you subscribe to don't mean I dislike you as a whole entire person. So for the life of me, I can't really understand how people don't understand that. Man, I do, but I don't. But a lot of times people do not know how to separate that, man. They say if you attack a lifestyle choice that they have made, then they feel like you are attacking them as a person. People disagree with certain things that I say and do all the time. That don't mean that they hate me, you know? So people don't really understand that. People don't understand that at all, man. So I be having to break that down thoroughly to people. Like for the most part, the average person that I'm gonna talk to, interact with, I'm gonna disagree with something and something that they do and something that they say. Don't mean I hate them as a whole entire person. Come on now. Come on now. Peace, y'all. The wife is in the building. Say peace to the wife. Lindell, peace. What's going on? Thunder Scorpion, yes, very misunderstanding. Very misunderstanding, man. It's a big misunderstanding. And like I tell people, man, when it comes to this, especially when we talking about like the religious perspective, I feel like I have the right to talk about it because, again, I was raised under that religious umbrella. Now, it wasn't really strict, but I was raised under that religious umbrella. I mean, I went to a private Lutheran high school. I went to a private Catholic college. So I feel like I'm qualified to talk a lot about the religious perspective. I was raised Baptist, but I mean, again, it wasn't anything that was strict, but I was raised that way. And I honestly feel like, not to the fault of my parents, but I honestly feel like me not being raised that strict was a good thing, man, because it just allowed me to kind of question everything, because stuff wasn't really forced upon me, you know. So I actually feel like that was beneficial, because a lot of times when people are raised so strict when it comes to religion, man, they are afraid to ask questions. I wasn't necessarily raised that strict, so I really wasn't afraid to ask the questions, even though when you would ask the questions, you would get shunned. So, but all that strict nonsense, man, and for the life of me, I get it when it comes to baptizing children, but I feel like that's something that you should save. And stop baptizing these kids when they like 6. They don't really understand what's going on. Like, they don't understand what they're being baptized for. They don't understand the process of what's going on. Like, they don't really understand what's going on. I almost feel like that's worthless. Like, I got baptized. I forgot how old I was, but I was young. And I mean, come on. Like, it really didn't do anything for me because I didn't understand the significance of it. I feel like that's something that you should hold off on until the child becomes like 18 and they're able to make that decision as an adult. Because then at that point, it's really mental. All of this stuff is mental at the end of the day. If I get baptized and I believe that it's actually doing something for me, then it may in fact do something for me. It may in fact benefit me. But if you young and they just throwing you in the water like that, it didn't do anything with me because I wasn't understanding it. Now, the people that was around me, it may have impacted them. They may have felt like it did something for me. Everything that good happened to me after the fact, they may attribute it to the fact that I was baptized. But for me personally, getting baptized at that young of age had no impact on me. Like, it didn't change my life. Like, it didn't do anything for me. So I feel like things like that, you should hold off on until the child is old enough to make that decision on their own. Don't force a child to go get baptized. Like, come on, man. We got to understand the significance of it. Stop forcing that type of stuff on children for real, man, because it really doesn't make any sense. Like, I got baptized, really didn't understand what was happening. I didn't really understand it. Didn't really resonate with me. So, like, it didn't do anything for me. Hence why a lot of times people become older and then they redo it. I know y'all seen them. People get older and then what they say, I'm born again. Because it's like when you was a child, you went through the same process, but it didn't stick with you. It didn't resonate because you was too young. So you get 18, 19, you're like, you know what? I'm going to get baptized again. I'm going to be born again. Because it didn't make sense back then. So it's like we might as well skip that part of the process and allow people to make these decisions when they get older. Because I just feel like that's an unnecessary thing to have a child do. Because, again, we ain't understanding the significance of being baptized at 7, at 6. Like, it's not moving us how y'all claim it's moving us. Angelic, peace. Appreciate you tapping in for the time you had. Beast reincarnated. I'm going to build on it. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Magic Realms, peace. What's going on? Thunder Scorpion, exactly, man. Exactly. It's just a disagreement in regards to the perspective that we have on life. Like, just like this. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be that person that sees the title of this video and they gonna overlook one important word. I be putting words in on purpose, but somebody gonna look at this video and they gonna see what they gonna focus on. They gonna see why I do not believe in the existence of heaven and hell. Guess what they gonna miss though? They gonna miss the word theory. They gonna miss the key word there. I put theory. They gonna miss that word. They gonna overlook the word theory. I'm calling it a theory. They're going to overlook that word, though. They're not going to pay attention to the word theory, and they're going to get right in their feelings because I said something don't exist. And then they're going to also they're going to overlook another word, believe. Why I do not believe. So I use the word theory, believe. So it's like they're going to overlook that and get right into their feelings because that is what people tend to do. Jeremy, no doubt. No doubt. And that's how it is. 3 sides to every story, most definitely. Thunder Scorpion. I did it because basically they made me do it. It's like it's pretty much they made me do it. Righteous Reese, peace. What's going on? And Thunder Scorpion, man. Like I said, man, I studied a lot of different afterlife theory. I don't believe and I'm gonna break this down to y'all. Not only do I not believe in like heaven and hell, but I don't really believe in none of the afterlife theories that are out here. Like people talking about you come back in the form of something that I don't believe in that either. Like I don't subscribe to that. I feel like that was also utilized to control people and to manipulate people. I mean, y'all got to think about it, man. Y'all got to think about the manipulation and how you can control a group of people if you claim like that if you don't do what you need to do on this earth, or like if you endure this suffering, then you will get your pie in the sky. Man, that's control, that's manipulation. And then if you start talking to people about coming back in the form of something else, like again, that's manipulation, that's control. And that y'all know about Buddhism and Buddhists, like they start talking about that cycle of suffering, coming back in the form, reincarnation. Like I don't even subscribe to reincarnation. I don't subscribe to any of that. I feel like when I'm gone, the world is going to be just what it was before I was here. Like, that's where I'm going to be. That's where I'm going to be. I feel like that's where afterlife is. We call it returning to the essence. The same particles that I'm made of exist within the universe. So all that's going to happen is this flesh is going to deteriorate. And then these particles are going to go right back into circulation into the universe to keep the universe in rotation. That's literally all I got for you. I don't have no fancy theory for afterlife. Other than what I said in my previous video, your afterlife is your legacy. That's the work you leave behind, your kids, whatever it is, the impact you had on people. The impact you had on people while you were here on this earth, that's your afterlife. What people remember you by and as, that's your afterlife. How people carry on your legacy after you are gone, that's your afterlife. That's the only afterlife I know about. That's the only afterlife I subscribe to. That's it. Other than that, I don't subscribe to anything else. I mean, it's all just a theory. So you, at this point, you just choose, you picking a theory that you want to believe in. I don't really care to believe in anything other than I know for a fact that the particles that make up my body exist within the universe. So they just gonna go right back to the rotation of the universe. That's it. That's all I got. That's why they say return to the essence. That's all I got for you. That's what always made the most sense to me, and that's what I roll with. Other than that, I don't really have a fancy afterlife theory, man. It's a lot of different reasons why I don't subscribe to them. And you just got to ask yourself. I even talked about, I mentioned this in a song some years ago. And I talked about people saying God made man in his image. I was like, no, man pretty much made God in his image. Just study religion. Every time you see a God, the God is a reflection of the culture that then basically created the religion or the belief system. So the God is going to always look like the people who created the system. So man pretty much then made God in his image. Just go study him. Just go study all of these cultures. Whatever the higher power is in that culture, guarantee you he going to look like the people that created the culture or the religion. Guarantee you, 100%. So that is telling me right now that man made God in his image, in his likeness. Because every time you study a religion, even the Messiah and the God figure in that religion looks just like the people who are responsible for bringing that religion into existence. Guarantee you. Whether it's black folks, whether it's white folks, whether it's Asians, whether it's Mexicans, whoever it is, the God is going to reflect their image 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Beast reincarnated. We are creators. I mean, so it's definitely a creator. So we are creators. I mean, when you come together with a woman, y'all can see that's creation. So again, we definitely is a creator. We definitely a creator, man. I mean, we always create. We always create. We always born in things into existence. So of course. And even with the being in hell right now and creating heaven, I don't even really like to use the terms anymore. I be just shying away from certain terms because people get the wrong idea when I start utilizing the terms. So I don't even say we in hell right now. Like we just in life. This is life. We ain't in heaven nor hell. Like we are existing in life. That's just life. It's what it is. It's life. You're going to have your up days. You're going to have your down days. It's just life. I'm not about to call life heaven or hell. It's just life. That's all that it is. It's life. I'm not about to make life more than what it actually is. It's life. It's life. I don't place any religious label on life. I'm not even doing that anymore. It's life. Bunch of things go on in life. And Magic Realms to that point too. That's another thing. A lot of people, when they bring questions to me, because a lot of time when people find out you have a real different perspective when it comes to this particular stuff, a lot of people ask you questions, and a lot of people tell me that's one of the things that people try to bring to me to prove the existence of like a God or a higher power. They start talking about things that science cannot explain, and to me, just because something cannot be explained doesn't mean that it's some transcendental being behind it. Just because we can't explain it, it's a lot of things that we were not able to explain back in the day that we are now able to explain. So just because we don't have something figured out, and just because we can't explain something, doesn't mean it's a mysterious force behind it. It just means we haven't dug deep enough and are able to explain it. That's all it means to me. So a lot of people attach extreme significance to things that have yet to be explained. And it ain't really a big deal to me. It's just something that cannot be explained. It's almost like if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer to the question, I can research and I can come back and give you an answer within like a week or a few days, depending on what the question was. But at that particular point in time, I just didn't know the answer. Doesn't mean it's a mysterious force behind my lack of knowledge. It was just a lack of knowledge. So I had to do further research. So I apply that same thing to things in the universe. We just need to do more research on certain things, just like we had to do back in the day. Just like I said, at one point, we was placing the earth in the center. Then they did more research, and then understood and realized that everything revolved around the sun, not the earth. So it's one of those situations. So just because something cannot be explained in my mind doesn't mean there's some mysterious force behind it that's like unseen. And even when you're talking about the unseen world, then again, that goes into quantum physics. We start talking about electrons, protons, atoms, and things like that. That's the unseen world that I subscribe to. That's the unseen world that I subscribe to. And then even when you start studying religions, you're going to get that correlation. I mean, Adam and Eve, you can easily break that down, metaphorically speaking, into Adam and then evolution. Easily. Like you can easily correlate that. You can easily say that's speaking the same language. But people not going to want to do that. And I don't even care to go there. But you can easily break that down into that. Adam evolution, like easily. You can easily start. And then once you start studying atoms, evolution, single cell organisms, all of it is going to make sense. Triple stage darkness, like all of it is going to correlate. You're going to find out that a lot of these religions basically didn't mimic the universe and they didn't put their own twist on it. That's why I said man and created all of these theories, basically just by analyzing the universe, trying to make it more mysterious and because we like the mystery. So we try to make it more mysterious than what it actually is. But when you start studying science, then you look at religion, you're like, that sounds kind of similar. They just made a story out of it. They just made it sound poetic. But that's why I say like Adam and evolution. Like that's come on, Adam, Eve, like really? Out of all the names you come up with, we got those names. We got those names. Like really? But again, we all know who the Adam traces to. Like we already know that. But again, Adam, Eve. Come on. Out of all the names we could have came up with, that those names that are close to Adam, y'all know the Adam, Atom, and then evolution. Like, come on, man. You could use any other name, could have been any other name, but we got Adam, we got evolution. Thunder Scorpion it's 100% comfort. And it's comfort in the sense of not only yourself, but people also like to think that their loved ones are going to a better place after they pass. And that's all comfort. I mean, that's 100% comfort because it's like, I mean, we automatically, I don't care how bad, I don't care how much dirt the person did on this planet, no matter how much dirt they did, no matter what they was responsible for. This could be the most wicked person on the planet. When they die, everybody going to be like they in a better place. It just never fails. Like that's just strictly comfort. I don't say that because I literally do not know. I don't know. Earth, hey, the earth right now that we exist on could be the best place. So I'm not about to say when somebody died, they in a better place. I have no way to confirm that. I have no way to validate that life after this, there is a better place. No way to validate it. I'm living good. I'm chilling now. So it's definitely comfort in that sense that people want to feel like life is not meaningless. And then after, like, there's a reward for all the work that they put in while they were living. So they want to just feel like it's something for them after this life. I get it. I'm not mad at anybody. Whatever helps you sleep at night, I'm all for it. That never really helped me sleep at night. It just never made sense to me. But if that helps you sleep at night, I'm all for it. And if in order to cope with a loved one passing, you got to believe that they're in a better place, I'm all for it. That just never helped me. Doesn't resonate or never resonated with me. So I never really subscribed to it. It never made sense to me because my first question was always the same. How do you know? So anytime somebody would tell me such and such is in a better place, my first question, boom, how do we know that? Simple question. Brittany, most definitely. It's like that's the question. How do we know? Okay, Akuma, what you say? But what about the consciousness that is Eric Bell? You think is done with the flesh? Nothing beyond that? All right, Akuma, yeah, like I broke down. The particles that make up my body. We all know the science behind energy. Can't be created nor destroyed. It just changes forms or transforms. So we know the particles that make up my body that exist within the universe. Like I said, them particles, once the flesh deteriorates and you down to the bones, like those particles just go back into the universe and keep the universe in rotation. So that's that consciousness. That's that consciousness transforming, man. So it's going back into rotation. That's all I got for you, though. That's all I got for you, though. Yeah, Thunder Scorpion, 100% facts. Pseudo charlatans. It's about a million people, maybe a billion, that think different about reincarnation. Man, some of everybody like. Listen, it's one or two people that I'm gonna come across. It's either gonna be people that subscribe to the afterlife theory in a religious sense. I mean, reincarnation is still pretty much a religious sense, but you either gonna believe in a heaven and hell type of concept, or you believe in reincarnation. Those are the two people that I run into. Very select few of the people are like me that don't subscribe to any of it. So I understand that I'm odd. I'm an oddball when it comes to afterlife theories, because most people either believe in reincarnation or they believe in some sort of heaven or hell or something like that. Very select few, but I'm used to being a select few anyway. But it's a very select few that do not subscribe to either one of those theories or schools of thought. So I'm already hip. I already know. And it's all cool though. I like hearing people talk about why they subscribe to or why they think reincarnation is real. I like people talking about why they feel like heaven and hell is real. Like, I don't mind it. That's the difference between me and them. I listen. I've listened to people break down why they feel like reincarnation is right and exact. I've listened to people like actually legit claim that they died and went to heaven. I've listened to these people. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I have no problem listening to somebody say, man, I died, I went to heaven. I know heaven is real. Here's why. Got no problem with it. The problem is, though, when I try to give my perspective, they shut me down. Shut me down. Jeremy, most definitely. And that's why I say, man, focus on the here and now. And listen, like subconsciously, a lot of us know that. Subconsciously, a lot. All right, I think I'm back on it, man. We connection issue on that joint. Oh, pseudo charlatan, man. Hey, people done told people they have reincarnated a bunch of everything. But when people start talking about reincarnation, I just start talking about DNA and the science of DNA. And once I start getting the understand, once I gained a little understanding on DNA, then the reincarnation theory, I no longer care for that. Because like I said, I was entertaining reincarnation. Once I dropped the whole heaven and hell thing, the next thing was reincarnation. I was like, this may make some sense to me. But then once I did the knowledge to DNA, I'm like, okay, got you. So we all got access to this information that was passed down from generation to generation. That's what DNA is, basically information. That's what DNA basically is. It's infinite information. And once you learn how to tap into it, man, you can tap into a lot. You can tap into a lot. So that's why some people are able to say, I feel like I've been here before. Man, that's your DNA. It's your DNA. That's your DNA. When you tap into the DNA, man, you can tap into things that preceded you. That's what DNA is. That's what DNA is all about. So it's nothing spooky about it. There's nothing really spooky about it. From generation to generation, that's all information. If you trace your lineage back all the way to the beginning of man, like, that's the type of information that you got access to via your DNA. So it's no surprise to me that people can say, oh man, I feel like I've been here before, and start talking about reincarnation and things like that. Man, that's DNA. That's DNA. So once I started to study DNA, it eliminated the spookism from all of that type, like reincarnation and things like that. Thunder Scorpion, yep. There you go. Jeremy, you never know. You never know. But at the same time, that's why I tell everybody, man, just stay true to yourself, man, because hey, people be listening. People be listening. People be paying attention. Some people do it from the stand. Some people cheerleaders with it, but people be paying attention. Red Grease. Yeah. I don't know if I said your name right, but you already know, man. You already know I didn't study ancient Kemet. You already know. But even still with that, I feel like we romanticize Kemet as well, because within Africa, they taught a lot more. We are the most diverse people on the planet. So I feel like a lot of times we cling to ancient Kemet and what they taught. But we had a lot of different systems, a lot of different ways we viewed the world in Africa, because we are the most diverse group of people. John G. Jackson got a book, man, called Man, God, Civilization, and he breaks down the diverse perspectives, the diverse ideologies, the diverse outlooks that we had. So again, I feel like a lot of times we romanticize ancient Kemet as if that was like the only so-called spiritual system or system of belief or even scientific system that we had in Africa. But I'm definitely familiar with Kemet though. Like that was one of the first things initially that I started studying. Once you get that knowledge yourself, like it leads you right to Kemet. It leads you right to Kemet, leads you right to it. So I dabble with that. But and then even still, I tell people this all the time too, just because some of my African ancestors subscribe to something don't necessarily mean I'm gonna subscribe to it as well too. So I tell people that too. Like I subscribe to what actually makes sense to me. That's how I pretty much live my life. So if it don't really make sense to me, don't necessarily subscribe to it. But I'm familiar with a lot of different perspectives, especially from our ancestors. Not only just ancient Kemet, but like the Dogon tribe, Yoruba, and things of that nature. Man, we got a lot of different systems of belief, a lot of different scientific systems, man, a lot of different ways we viewed the world back in the day. So I studied a few of them. And some of them even get strange, man. But it's like, again, we storytellers. Even when you start studying the creation stories, like with the Dogon tribe and stuff like that. Like if you take that in a literal sense, like you would be fooling out here. But something like a lot of that stuff was not meant to be taken literally. Yeah, Thunder Scorpion. It's always somebody famous or of significant importance. You know, it's always noticed for the most part. I've had a few people that said something about a past life, and it may be a person that but for the most part, when somebody brings up a past life, it's always somebody you can look up. It's always somebody you can find on Google. You know, so when somebody starts talking about something from a past life, it's literally always something that somebody you can look up. It's never an average Joe that you can't look up on Google. It's always somebody that you can pretty much Google and look up and like, see, I was this person in it. It ain't never really just an average Joe. What about the average people that existed back in the day? Like, why ain't nobody claiming to be them in the past life? But like I said, I've heard some cases of some people claiming to be these people. But for the most part, when people talk about past life, it's either somebody you can look up, or it's somebody with a crazy story, like some dude that killed 15 white people and things like that. That I was him in my past life. It ain't never really somebody that's average that didn't do anything. So when people start talking about who they was in a past life, it's always some crazy story, or somebody that you could look up on Google. It ain't never really this average person that just lived a normal life that didn't do anything exciting. I ain't never heard nobody say, man, in my past life, I was just this average dude that raised his kids and then died. I never heard that. It's always something crazy. It's always something crazy, or it's always something of somebody that was significant. So that's something that I've always found interesting. Like, yeah, I was this father of two, and I just worked at this plant, and then I died of natural causes. Like I've never personally heard anybody come back and say that about their past life. It's always some crazy story, or it's always somebody that's significant that you can look up. Beast Reincarnated. I know exactly what type of creator you were talking about, but that's why I added my spin to it, because you already know how I view the situation. Because the rabbit hole goes deep, because like people ask me, They always ask me if you, it's like I forgot the exact term for it, man. I forget it, but it's in a lot of science books. All y'all do is pick up a science book and you won't come across the term that I'm talking about. But a lot of times when people figure out the way of life that I subscribe to, they start asking me, well, who created everything? Who created the universe? So then I can easily ask you, who created the person you think created the universe? And we just can continue down that line, never ending. So I can always ask you who created the person you think is responsible for everything. And you could just ask me who created that. That never ends. There will never be nobody will ever be satisfied when it comes to that. That's why I don't even get into that particular conversation anymore, because I can easily ask people who created the creator. Then you could just tell me something, and then I can just ask you again who created that creator. So then that's just never ending. At the end of the day, it's just you subscribing to a belief system, subscribing to a religious system, spiritual system, scientific system, whatever it is, and just rolling with it. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. I just ask people to just be more open to the people that are not necessarily religious and stop shunning them, because a lot of it is just misunderstood. A lot of it is misunderstood. Like, soon as you figure out that we don't believe in a certain thing, then automatically you shunning me and you're trying to force your perspective on me. I'm not forcing anything. I'm not going to tell anybody that they need to believe in a creator or a God. Like, I'm not even going to do that. Like, you live how you want to live. I'm not I'm not going to tell you what you need to believe in. That ain't my right. So whatever makes sense to you, whatever helps you sleep at night, whatever helps you become a righteous person, whatever brings you peace, man, you fool with that. You subscribe to that. If not believing in anything brings you peace, man, I'm cool with it, as long as you ain't bothering me and disturbing me and disturbing my peace and harming others. Like, who am I to tell you the way that you are living is incorrect and foul and wrong? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But people tend to do that to others, though. All we can do is just, bounce these ideas and these perspectives off of one another, man, and just hope that the conversation is respectable. It's pretty much all we got. Magic rims. And then, and again, even with that too, even with that, I think people got this another misunderstanding that people have about science. People have this misconception about science, and they think science has claimed to know everything. Never has science ever claimed to know everything. So I just want to clear that up too. When people say they deal with science, now I also broke down how science can be corrupted, how science has been corrupted, how scientists have been paid to fabricate certain pieces of information. We know that that's out here. So we're not blind to the corruption that goes on in science. But a lot of people think when somebody deals with science that they saying that science has everything figured out. Not at all. Not at all. Science is the process of striving to figure things out, but not once has science ever claimed to have all the answers. And like I said in the previous live, the reason why I would lean more toward the science route is because science is open to change. When you deal with science, like, the perspective can change. Like I said, I keep using this example as to once the earth was being at the center and now it's the sun. That's changed. That's saying, okay, we committed an error. We going to change it. Most religions won't do that. Most religions won't say, man, this is outdated. It's time for us to revise this. But science, true science, will do that. True science will say, man, we once said this was right, but after further investigation, we found this to not be accurate. We got to change it. To me, I deal with something like that. I'd rather deal with that instead of saying this is set law. It can't be revised. Like, I don't subscribe to anything like that. Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me, to not be able to revise something, to not be able to say, okay, this is pretty much incorrect. We've got a lot of new research out here that confirms that this is incorrect. So I think we need to revise this. Like, that's what I fool with. Oh, TZ Frank, and no doubt. You say, why do we have to suffer on earth? And even all of that is just perspective, you know? Just perspective, and die to get our flowers. Why can't we have our flowers here on earth like the white people? Exactly. And we can. They just tried to control and manipulate us with these theories. They tried to control and manipulate us with these theories to make us believe that, okay, we enduring all this pain and suffering, but we gonna get that reward. We gonna get that reward after we cease to exist. Like, that's manipulation, that's control. That's what that's all about. Like they say, they gave us the Bible and took the land. Like, that's what they did. Gave us the Bible, had us looking toward the sky, and then they took what was right beneath us, the land. That's what they did. That was the whole objective, giving us all these theories and whatnot, man. And they got us, man. They got us. Jeremy 1565 say, looking for everything outside of ourselves, as above, so below. You already know, as within, so without, things of that nature. Hey, Thunder Scorpion. What Carl Sagan say? Extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence. That's one of my favorite quotes. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. One of my favorite quotes right there. Brittany, what you say? Why do we have to wait till we die to have our heaven? Like, why experience that when we die? You know, man, who said, man, was that Bob Marley, man, that say everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die? That rings true. That rings so true to me. Everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Just think about it, man. I don't think people understand how deep that particular saying is. Everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Y'all really got to think about what's being said right there. Y'all really got to think about the subconscious ramifications behind that particular quote. And the first time I heard that, it got me to thinking deeply. Like, dang, that's right and exact. That's an actual fact. Because in my mind, it's like, with the way it's glorified and with the simplicity of it in regards to pretty much getting to heaven, man, like just the way it was broken down to me, it was like, man, if it's my time to go, I should be I shouldn't even be concerned. But for the most part, like you said, nobody wants to die, because subconsciously we know, like, man, we really don't know. I really don't know what's waiting for me. So it's like that quote made me think about that. Aim or fix. What's going on? Man, y'all going in on the comments, man. I don't even, man, y'all didn't went in on the comments. I'm out here venting. I ain't looked at half the comments. You know, the wife that made the donation asked the question. She said, I've been hearing a lot of aliens. Do you think aliens from other worlds exist and their existence is being hidden from us? Once again, my views on aliens, I can go a lot of different ways with this particular conversation, because back in the day when I removed myself from religion, I used to, back again when I was young and reckless, I used to get into these type of debates with people. I used to ask the religious person, do you believe in aliens? The religious person 9.9 times out of 10 would tell me no. And I would say, well, why don't you believe in aliens? They'd say something along the lines of, not enough evidence. They need proof for the existence of the aliens. Then that's when I would get into the whole conversation about whatever higher power they believe in. So I say, Dag, well, you don't need proof for whatever it is that you praying to or the Messiah that you praying to, but you need proof about these aliens. Interesting. Like, so I used to have those type of conversations with religious folks. Now I don't necessarily do that. Now I don't necessarily do that. But the alien theory is more believable than anything to me, but I don't necessarily even subscribe to that. When it comes to aliens, honestly, I started to think we the real aliens for real. Black folk, you know, we did things that they wasn't able to duplicate, to the point where they had to give credit to the aliens, aka the pyramids. We built the pyramids, and it was so unfathomable that Black people could be responsible for something like that, that they had to say it was some aliens that came out of nowhere to help them build the pyramids. So nah, if I'm gonna subscribe to any alien, it's us. But until I can get some significant evidence, some significant concrete evidence, then I'm not really subscribing to that as well. But I'm all for the people that subscribe to the aliens, man. I don't have no problem with, just like I ain't really got no problem with the religious folks. I just disagree with some of the things that they say. It's just personally, I don't fool with it. So that's what I be having to let people know. People be feeling like it's an attack. Personally, I just don't fool with it. Not saying what I'm saying is right or wrong. It's just something that I don't fool with, man. Because again, I was at a period in my life where I was trying to just figure some things out, man. What they call soul searching and stuff like that, man. So I came across a lot of different perspectives, man. A lot of different schools of thoughts, man. So I was studying and dabbling with a lot. From the spiritual side to the religious side to the scientific side, man. I done been reading a lot. Man, from the Carl Sagans to the Richard Dawkins, man, to the ancient Kemet, man, whatever you can think of, man. Yorubu, the doggone tribe. It's some stuff that I'm missing, man. I just can't even think of all of it, man. Studying, of course, y'all know I can study Islam, and of course had to study, the Catholic Church, Lutheran Church, Baptist, like the Baptist Church, all of that. Had to study that within it. So I didn't studied all of that, man. Just been around and studied all that. Buddhism, of course, I studied a lot of Eastern religions and things of that nature. So I didn't just studied a lot of it and dabble with a lot of it. On the Scorpion, I'm glad you can admit that. You said the ancient Kemetic philosophy I used to follow, but I was being biased because it was African. I had to challenge those thoughts and beliefs too. A lot of people, when you are able to start looking at like through that lens, man, that's when you really gonna evolve. And even still, it's like people, like I was just saying, people don't understand within Africa, we got a lot of different. So not all of Africa agrees with the ancient Kemetic philosophy. So that's what I'm saying. We just so diverse, man. You got a lot of different schools of thought amongst Africans. But a lot of times we cling to things just because we think our ancestors did it. Like some of the things that goes back to being able to revise things. Like just because my ancestors did something or said something doesn't mean I'm about to subscribe to it. What it means is I should be able to study what they did, and I should be able to say, okay, this is still beneficial and still relevant, or I should be able to look at it and say this needs revision because the current research doesn't corroborate what they were doing back in the day. So you need to be able to revise what it is that they were saying and doing back in the day, not necessarily use it as law. So if something can't be revised, so if you subscribing to something and we can't revise it and say that this was wrong back then, this is how it needs to be now, I definitely don't want no parts of it. You should be able to revise everything. That's the whole point of evolution. That's the whole point of evolution. Like that is literally the whole point of evolution. If you ain't embracing evolution and change, I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no parts of anything that's stagnant to the point where you can't alter it. No. Yeah, Magic Realms, quantum physics, man. I ain't dabbled with quantum physics in a minute. That was way back in the day. I've been more so on like the health kick and things like that. I ain't dabbled with quantum physics in a minute though. But when I started studying quantum physics, once again, man, a lot of things just started making sense. But like I said, man, I didn't been reading a lot, man. I didn't string theories, man. I didn't read a lot, man. I didn't read a lot about a lot of different theories and and just things in life, man. So I've been around block, man. I didn't studied a lot. I literally got books just on the atom itself. Hence why if y'all don't know, in the 5% culture, we come up with a righteous name. So you give yourself a name. So my name I gave myself was Universal Atom, ATOM. That's literally the name I gave myself because I was studying the atom. I was studying the importance of the atom. I was studying triple stage darkness and how life emerged from the cracking of the atom. Like that's why I gave myself that name. That's why I put the atom on my name. So I was studying all of that type of stuff. Justin, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, most of what I fool with is different. Righteous Reese. I seen that y'all told me that my video froze. Y'all peeped that, man. I blacked out for a minute. Screen blacked out. But you say, do you guys believe that we have spirits or souls though? I'm gonna focus on that first part before I get to the other part. Spirit is just like the breath of life. Even when you study the Bible, we made spirit something spooky when really it's not. When you actually look at the Bible, you gonna realize that spirit is nothing but the breath of life. Literally, it's breath, oxygen, things of that nature. So again, it's really all science at the end of the day. And souls, I don't necessarily subscribe to the theory of souls that everybody else has. That's why I really don't care to use the word. But I just deal with energy. Again, something that's not created nor destroyed, that's transforms. And like I just talked about, that's going back to the essence, that's going back into the universe, keeping the universe in rotation. Those particles, which are really the unseen world, like I said, the atoms and things of that nature, things you have to get a device to be able to like see them. You got to put them under the microscope. So I don't necessarily, when you hear me speak, I'm not going to necessarily use terms like spirit, soul, not going to use them. The only thing you may hear me say is like, or the word you're going to hear me use is energy. Probably it. It's probably all you're going to hear me use. Yeah, I see y'all building on aim or fix. You say, so I guess the question is there a God? What could possibly happen to our spirit once we die? Spirit is just your breath, man. You just stop breathing. You stop breathing. But again, those particles go back into circulation. Y'all know what oxygen is. Again, you can't see oxygen, but oxygen is out here. So like that's the unseen world that I be talking about. Can't necessarily, you can see oxygen at a point when it gets cold and whatnot. You breathe and you see it. But for the most part, we're not looking at oxygen. We're not looking at the air that we breathe. So all of those particles, man, they go back into that circulation of particles that we can't see, like oxygen and things of that nature. But as far as there being a God in the religious sense, what most religions consider a God, I don't subscribe to him. I dropped that belief a long time ago, just based off of my research and what resonated with me and what made sense with me. Y'all know about the 5% culture. Y'all know how we actually view that word in and of itself. But in a religious sense, no. Well, most religious people would, when they talk about God, that concept, I do not subscribe to that to answer that question for myself personally. I haven't subscribed to that concept in like over 10 plus years. And Brittany, you say random, but do you believe in astral projection and out of body experience? Oh, no doubt. No doubt, because that's just basically the power of the mind for me when it comes to out of body experience, things of that nature. So that ain't really, that ain't really anything spooky though. But yeah, I definitely see that happening. But I'm not out here talking about I'm about to go astral projecting things like that. I'm not necessarily throwing it around like that. Sneaker King, you say you don't believe this world we are in is real. Everything is fake, from the systems to the money to the rules. Sneaker King, I can see that. Now, what do you define as fake, though, and what do you define as real? That's what I would have to ask you in that regard on that particular take. You say you don't believe this world we are in is real. So then I want to ask you, what is your definition of real? You say everything is fake. Then I want to know your definition of fake, from the systems to the money to the rules. So I definitely would like to know how you define real and how you define fake. Because I've also done the knowledge to that type of thing when they tell you everything is an illusion. And the world we see is not real. So I've definitely studied those type of concepts and those type of systems of belief. And y'all should already know I don't necessarily subscribe to them as being truthful to me. But I used to dabble with that. Everything is an illusion. That never really even made sense to me. But I'm interested when people say that. I'm interested in them defining what does real mean. What does it mean for something to be real? What does that mean? So if I say everything in this world is like fake, then like I need to know what fake means for you. I need to really know what fake. I need to know what fake means. Shaquille, you say you believe in the astral plane when we pass. I didn't heard that. Definitely didn't heard that. Kurt Patterson, what'd you say? Deepest thing in the Christian Bible is in heaven, afterlife. No one has a race, culture, or gender. My first question would be, how do we know that? Like, how do we know? How can we say, how can we say that in heaven or afterlife, no one has a race, culture, or gender if we have never existed in the afterlife? So that'd be my question to that. If you're gonna say in heaven or afterlife, no one has a race, culture, or gender, how do we know? And again, that question is to not throw shade on what you just said. It's a question. Like, how do we know that? Because you made a claim. So you made a statement. So now I need to know, like, how do we know that? Righteous Reese, when we talking about, and again, even with even with different dimensions, I just don't even think that that's as spooky as we like to make it as well, because it's almost like when they say it's levels to everything, like just mentally, man, you can easily, reach certain levels mentally. So that's all dimensions is to me, man. Just again, like when it's like grades, man, you going up a grade. So it's just like mentally, man, when you elevate, you on another dimension, you on another plane. You know what I'm saying? So you was operating at this first grade level. Now you reach the second grade level. So of course, I feel like it's layers and levels to like everything in existence. So it's definitely dimensions to everything, man. Just like if you was trying to change your diet or your lifestyle, it's gonna be levels to it. It's gonna be different dimensions that you're gonna have to place yourself through, man, in order for this to work properly. And again, to me, that's mathematics. The dimensions is mathematics, man. So you got to do step 1, you got to do step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But first, you got to figure out the steps, or what you would call dimensions. You got to figure those steps out first. In order for me to completely change my lifestyle, I got to do this first. I got to eliminate this. I got to add this. Then I got to eliminate that. Like, that's what that is for me. It's all math. Like mathematics is really what I subscribe to, what they call the only language of the universe. When you break everything down, it's mathematics. Study of patterns. People think mathematics is just numbers. No, mathematics is also patterns, man. Again, you can attach mathematics to everything. So that's why I just break down everything in a mathematical sense, because at the end of the day, that's what it's going to boil down to. C square piece, what's going on? Righteous reason. That's another thing. With higher dimension, what you say, reach higher densities so that we can phase through different dimensions, since we are energy and energy is forever. So like at the end of the day, like I said, it's like certain people when they existed on this planet being able to tap into certain things that other people don't seem to be able to tap into. That's you reaching another dimension while you are in existence. A lot of times what we do is we attach all of this stuff to the afterlife. Like, nah, people reach these different dimensions while they are in existence. People reach these different people tap into the so-called unknown while they are living. So none of this has to happen after you die. Like, none of this. None of this has to happen. Matter of fact, none of this does happen after you die. Like, you reach these different dimensions while you are in existence. People that meditate, people that just get in that relaxed state, man, you reaching that different dimension. You tapping into that. You tapping into that subconscious. You tapping into that DNA. Literally, that's what you are doing. Raven works. Yep, I'm 100% familiar with that verse. Y'all definitely got to know my background. Like I said, I'm familiar with every Bible verse that's probably gonna come my way just for having to take classes on it. People in my family being pastors and stuff like that. Thunder Scorpion, big flaw. Oh yeah, DNA. I mean, yeah, Akuma. I said DNA. Yeah, Akuma. I mean, that's just the power of words, man. The power of your thoughts, man. So that's why it's always best to harbor good quality thoughts, because you can literally be creating a condition for yourself, man, just by harboring those type of thoughts, man, and that type of, you know what I'm saying, that type of energy. Thunder Scorpion, 100%. And then Thunder Scorpion on top of that too. And a lot of people, again, it's not even it's not fancy. That's why a lot of people don't rock with it sometimes when I start speaking about it. It may not even be a who, what, when. It may not even be anything. It may just be that it is. And that's another thing that people don't want to accept too. It may not be a who or what or when or where and a why. It may just be it is. That's just the way that it is. It's just like when somebody asks you a question and you give them an answer and they ask you why, you say, well, that's just because that's the way that I view it. A lot of people don't like that answer because they want some type of description as to why you said what you said. Well, sometimes literally I said what I said because I said it, because it is what it is. So sometimes it's things like that that can be, that we can roll with. Like we be trying to figure out the what, the how, and the who, and the literal answer could be that it always was, always will be, always is. But a lot of people don't want to subscribe to that because it's not fancy. They want to know who did that. How is it like this? Why is it like that? It could be that it always was. That's a possibility as well. A lot of people don't want to, like a lot of people don't want to subscribe to that possibility. It always was. Who's to say that this always wasn't this way? Who's to say that things were not always this way? Who's to say that it had to be a creation story? Who's to say that all of this had to have been that way, man? Because again, none of us was here. So it's all theories at this particular point. Wisdom, you already know. You already know. Definitely a death coach. My boy Antonio, yeah, very, very religious, man. A lot of people don't be understanding that. Very religious. So again, it's a lot of things that my ancestors did that I disagree with. So, and again, that's just life. I don't subscribe to everything that they did and say, well, my ancestors did it. That's true. Shoot, my ancestors ate some food that I'm not going to eat to this day. Like, again, they did some things back in the day that I never do today. So my ancestors did a lot of things back in the day that I don't follow. You're not really gonna find you gonna find plant-based African societies, but you're not gonna necessarily find vegan societies in Africa for the most part. But that ain't stopping me from going vegan. That ain't deterring me saying, well, my ancestors didn't do it, so I'm not gonna do it. Nah, that's part of, again, evolution. Like, you should be able to say, man, they was eating like this back in the day, but further research indicates that this is the way that we need to eat. Revision. So again, like, they did a lot of things back in the day that I don't necessarily subscribe to, and I would never subscribe to because it was back in the day. That's a different time. That's almost like your parents and your grandparents, man, being caught up in their time, saying, well, back in my day, we did this. Man, that was back in your day. It's a different day and time. So a lot of times we cling to what our ancestors did, like that wasn't a long time ago. So it's like, man, they were doing that way back in the day. Way back in the day. And like I say, I take the best parts from everything, man. So whatever it is that I can take from it that's going to help me, I'm definitely going to take it, extract it, and I'm going to implement it in my life. But for the most part, man, again, I'm not going to get too caught up in the past. That's one thing they tell you not to do. Don't cling to the past, man. Like, we don't do that. And everything is open to revision. Everything is subject to error and everything is subject to correction. Jamar, the Rastafarians, man, I definitely rock with a lot of what they be talking about. Most definitely. Definitely, y'all know I had to study them. People already think I'm one anyway, just because of my hair. Magic Realms, I'm gonna give you It's not even science. You said science to this day can't even figure out how everything in the universe got started. It's not just science. Nobody can figure out how everything got started because none of us was here. So only thing we can do in regards to how everything got started is make a theory. So sciences do have theories about how things got started, but it's called a theory for a reason. But no religion, no spiritual system, no scientific system actually knows what happened to get everything started. It's just theories because none of us was here. So it's not even that. It's not even just science. It's everything and everybody. Nobody can really legit tell you this is what happened at the beginning, even if there was a beginning. Nobody, no system can 100% confirm that this happened. None. So it's all theories at the end of the day. Like that's what it is. And you just choosing which theory makes more sense to you. Oh yeah, Journey. You know, that's why they call it his story. Oh, Thunder Scorpion, man, I'll be the first. Thunder Scorpion, listen, because we pretty much share the same perspective when it comes to this. So we would be, listen, we would be going against exactly what we're saying if we didn't admit that there are scientists and fields of science that have been corrupted. That'll just go against everything that we were just talking about. So we got to admit that. We got to be honest in that regard. So that's why I do it. That's why I let everybody know that when it comes to science, definitely there are. And it's just like that. If the religious people just admit that, look, certain portions of my religion has been corrupted, things of that nature, I'm going to do the same for science. Yes, I fool with science more so than I'm a fool with anything else. But there are certain branches of science that scientists have been paid off. Science can be corrupted. Like that exists. So I'm not blind to that. I'm not blind to that. So that just helps you with research because you got to be able to decipher who has been paid off in the field of science, just like you got to be able to decipher who is the wicked pastor, imam, whatever it priest, whatever it is that you subscribe to. So science ain't no different. Oh yeah, righteous reach, man. What we say in our culture is that they studied the original man. If you want to master somebody, you got to study him. So they definitely did their homework to the original man. That's how they was able to pretty much hit us with certain things because they knew, especially how they was able to kind of manipulate the religion, revise the religion, and give it to us in that whitewashed form because they knew religion is something that they could use to control us because they studied us. They studied us. They know that we was a so-called spiritual people. So they said, look, if we want to control this group of people, give them a religion, but we got to revise the religion. We got to leave certain things out. We got to add certain things, man. We got to do it our way. But if we give them this religion, then we going to get them. Thunder Scorpion, peace, peace. TZ, Frank, and Jeremy. And I'm gonna give y'all the same. Why do y'all believe that? Why do y'all believe the universe is way too big for us to be the only ones? I don't necessarily find that to be a problem. I don't necessarily find it to be a problem for us to be the only ones. Again, that's mysterious. That's like we like, wow, we can't be this special. But what if we are? What if we are though? What if we are that special and that supreme? Again, y'all know the culture that I'm coming from. We call ourselves the supreme beings. So why is it hard to believe that we are the supreme beings that, nah, this universe is ours? Like, why is that hard to believe? I don't feel like that's hard to believe at all for the simple fact, like, because we are those supreme beings and we have shown and proven that reality over time. You wouldn't have anything in existence. We wouldn't have any of this stuff without man. You wouldn't have any of these things. You wouldn't have these electronic devices. You wouldn't have anything in existence right now without the hand of man. You wouldn't. So why is it hard to believe that this universe is way too big for us to be the only ones here? I don't find that to be a stretch at all. It may not sound too pleasing. It may not sound too fancy, but I don't feel like that's a stretch at all to believe we the only ones here. I don't find that to be a stretch at all. And I feel like I don't feel like we understand our true power when it comes to that. And we make statements like that. But I get it though. Like I said, I studied aliens and things of that nature. I didn't did my studying on that. But again, Even when it came to studying that, guess who it always came back to? It always came back to the black man and the black woman. Even when you studying aliens, it always came back to the black man and the black woman. So no matter what I studied, it always came back to the original man and the original woman. Hence why I don't really subscribe to a lot other than us, because everything I studied literally came back to us. Even when you studied aliens, it came back to us. Literally, it came back to us. Literally, I mean, literally, you study all of this stuff, it's gonna come back to the original man, it's gonna come back to the original woman. It's gonna come back to it. It's gonna come back to us in one way, shape, or form. Hence why I subscribe to what I subscribe to, because it all led me back to self. Literally. You wouldn't know, we wouldn't know anything about an alien without our perception. Like, we wouldn't know anything about aliens without perception. So again, who created the perception? Who gave us the concept of an alien? Guarantee you it was a man. You know, so again, it's our perception. Our perception is everything. So that's why I don't really subscribe to anything outside of me. An alien didn't give you the perception of alien, because if they did, then we wouldn't have to wonder if they existed or not. We would know. We created the concept of alien. We created that via our perception. Now we are just, it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game. But the reason why we guessing in the first place is because of our minds. The mind of man, the mind of woman. Literally, that's the only reason why we even having this conversation. It's because of the mind of man, because of the mind of woman. Nobody, no alien has came down to you and told you it existed. We are wondering about this. We are discussing it because of our minds, our perception. If nobody came and told us about aliens, we wouldn't think that they even existed. It's us literally creating this reality in our minds, showing you how powerful it is. And then once again, showing you what it all comes back to. The mind of man, the mind of woman. Nothing more powerful than that mind. You can create whatever you want to create in that mind. Literally, you can create whatever you want to create with that mind, man. The mind is very powerful. The mind is very powerful. Hey, Abad, there we go. And that's what I said. If I'm subscribing to any form of aliens, it's us, literally. Like that. That's why I test. That's why I said when you study aliens, when you honestly study aliens, it's gonna come back to black people. Like y'all cannot make this up. When you start studying aliens, like when you actually start studying aliens, it's gonna come back to black people. It's gonna come back to people that look like us. No matter how hard you study, no matter how hard you try to think that it's somebody that came from another planet, it's gonna come back to some black people. It's gonna come back to some original people. Literally, like it's 100%. Like that's why I was just like, okay, now I get it. But man, y'all, I can talk for years about this particular subject matter, man, because I was studying it way back in the day. I was studying this type of stuff for years, man. So this conversation can go on and on. This conversation can go on and on. Jeremy, what you say? We don't live on the universe. We live on Earth in the universe. Even within that being said, which of course we know that, even with that being said, we still within the universe. And again, with that being said, why is it hard pressed to believe that the Earth in which we live on is the only planet that has life on it? Like again, people want me to explain certain things. All I would ask for is for proof. So I don't have, like, what I'm saying is, when it comes to things like alien, I'm going to admit to you that I can't approve it nor disprove it. But my thing is, because people ask me the question, or people say the thing like, oh, this universe is too big for us to be the only ones. All I would ask is, why do you think that? Like, it don't necessarily, I don't see why that's a reach or a stretch or anything. I don't necessarily see that at all. Because even when I started doing the knowledge to, like, again, studying just science, and when they started talking about the Big Bang and how everything unfolded and the perfect conditions that was laid out for the earth for us to be able to inhabit the earth and things like that, we start talking about things like that. Then we can start talking about Mars and all that. So I done been there, done that with these type of conversations, man. If you're gonna find life on any other planet, for the most part, it may be on Mars. But yeah, I didn't rap that type of stuff in songs back when I was subscribing to a lot of it. So I definitely have heard every angle from this particular conversation. Ms. Donnie, man, like I said, I know smart people from all different walks of life. You know, the smart person is just the one who asks questions. You know, and then the one who admits that they don't really know something, and they always striving to do the research and do the knowledge to whatever it is, you know, that they don't know, instead of saying I don't know something and leaving it at that. But like at the end of the day, all of this stuff boils down to theories. At the end of the day, y'all know the culture that we come from. We deal with the original man, we deal with the original woman. We refer to the original man, the original woman as the supreme beings. So when you start studying, even if you study God, when you study higher powers, it's all gonna come back to the original man, the original woman. They was either worshiping the black man or they was worshiping the black woman. When you trace it all the way down to antiquity, even if you start talking about aliens and things just outside the universe, it's gonna always reflect the nature of the original man, the original woman. We can't make this up. All you got to do is study it. So that's why we subscribe to that. And that's why we call ourselves the supreme beings. That's one of the reasons why the culture that I involved myself with made the most sense to me, because all of my studies were already leading me in that direction. My studies were already leading me in that direction. At the end of the day, we haven't really proven that anything is more powerful than us. When we exercise that intelligence, when we exercise that mental intelligence, we have yet to show and prove something being as powerful as us, like collectively as people. We have yet to, come on, man, we have yet to show and prove that, man. They still to this day can't duplicate some of the things we did back in the day. Like I said, with the pyramids ain't have anything to do with no aliens. That was people. It's people. That was the mind of man. That was the mind of woman. That's what built that. That's what built those pyramids. That's what happened. So like, that's the higher power. The higher power is us coming together collectively and exercising that mental power. That's why they don't want to see the rise of a black messiah, because they know when you get enough people, enough black people around, when you get enough black people together to unify, then that is that mental power that I'm talking about being exercised, and they know they can't do anything with that. So that's why they try to prevent the rise of that. If they knew and understood everything was like supernatural and whatnot, and everything had something to do with things outside of us, then they wouldn't try to stop the rise of a black messiah. They would just pray to whatever it is they believe in, or whatever that case may be. No, they doing everything in their power to stop the rise of black people, because they know collectively when black people come together, there is nothing that they can do, because they know collectively we are the supreme beings. They not trying to fight so-called, listen, they not trying to fight something from another planet. They are trying to fight people here. They are trying to depopulate black folks. They are trying to kill off black folks because they know how powerful black people are. They not fighting anything else. They not fighting anything else. There's not any other war going on. They are trying to get rid of us. They are trying to get rid of you. They're trying to get rid of me. They're trying to get rid of our children. That's who they are trying to get rid of. That's letting you know who the most powerful people on this planet is. Because not only white folks, but we have the Arabs, we have the Asians. All of them have made an attempt to get rid of who? The original man, the original woman. Meanwhile, we ain't tried to make it our duty to get rid of any of them. So that's letting you know who the most powerful people on this planet is, because all these other ethnic groups that had the sole mission to wipe us out and cannot do it. We cannot be wiped out. While these other ethnic groups are in fear of them being wiped out, of them, their ethnic group being wiped out. We cannot be wiped out. So again, when you start studying all of this type of stuff, man, you can't show me a more powerful people on the planet than black people. You can't do it. So until somebody is able to show me up on that, I'm going to subscribe to the black man and the black woman being the supreme beings. And the children that come from that being the best part, then they grow up to be the supreme beings. That's the only thing that's going to ever make sense to me, because that's something that we can show and prove. Hence why people made it their duty in life to suppress us, man, to keep us down and oppress us. Until then, man, I ain't subscribing to anything else, man. Until they start fighting wars with other planets and things like that, then I may subscribe to that, man. But they trying to wipe us out. They don't want to see me rise. They don't want to see you rise. They don't want to see a young black son rise. They don't want to see a young black daughter rise. They don't want to see that. They are in fear of that because they know the power. They know the power that's in us rising collectively. They know that. So that's why they trying to suppress that power. That's why they trying to keep us down, man. That is what's happening. So I started studying the world, and that's what led to a lot of my perspectives in life, because I'm seeing what they trying to do to us. Why are they trying so hard to keep us down? We must be powerful. Why they don't want to see a black man rise and influence and encourage and motivate his community? We must be the most powerful people on the planet, because if we wasn't, then it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal that a Malcolm X is riling black people up. It wouldn't be a big deal that Marcus Garvey is out here riling black people up. It wouldn't be a big deal that Assata Shakur is as influential as she is. It wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal if we weren't the most supreme people on this planet. It wouldn't be a big deal. It'll blow. Look, it'll blow right past. But it is a big deal. If I start coming on here, if too many people start paying attention to me, y'all might not ever see me again, because it's a big deal when black folks start speaking that truth to power. They can't tolerate that, because they can't tolerate the collective rise of black people. Because again, we the most powerful people on the planet. We the most powerful beings on the planet. They know it. We just got to realize it. Nothing more powerful than us. And I will stand on that till I'm in the grave. Nobody will ever take that perspective from me. And I suggest that we all realize that, because that power is in all of us. That's why they fear us, man. That's why they fear the rise of the black planet, the rise of the black nation. They fear it. So they want to keep us down. Now, y'all done messed around and I done messed around and vented, losing track of time, man. So I gotta go make my move. But I appreciate y'all tapping in, man. I appreciate all the questions, input, all of that good stuff, man. I'm gonna have to tap out, man, because I gotta head to this gym. Got some sessions, man. Got some classes that I gotta fool with. So y'all be easy out here, man. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, depending on how my days go. But I'm gonna catch y'all. Y'all be easy out here. Enjoy the rest of this Tuesday. Peace.